person with a gun, 6124 South King Drive. Caller says 32 Venezuelans are trespassing the building, showing guns in the courtyard, and they have motorcycles in the courtyard as well. All stairwells are filled. Nothing further is unclear.
First here at 5 o'clock, members of a violent Venezuelan gang have made their way into the U.S. and here to Chicago. Authorities confirmed to NBC News that they are investigating more than 100 criminal cases connected to suspected gang members. NBC 5's V. Wynn talked to people concerned about the impact on the city and risks for vulnerable new asylum seekers.
Not only is the Little Village Community Council working to provide assistance for new arrivals, but also educating them on the inner workings of the city.
The city of Chicago is one of the most segregated cities, and also neighborhoods that they might think they're safe, but they're really not.
The director here says they've been holding workshops on a rolling basis, letting new asylum seekers know about the different gangs and their culture.
What colors not to wear. When you wear a hat, you tilt it to the right, to the left. That could cost you your life.
They've also been fielding questions about the emergence of Tren de Aragua. It's the largest criminal organization in Venezuela with more than 5,000 members.
We have been told that certain of the members of Tren de Aragua have done certain crimes in the neighborhood, but we can't say if it's really them.
This comes as local law enforcement officials told NBC News the gang is believed to be linked to criminal cases in 5 states, including Illinois and Indiana. NBC 5 confirmed at least 2 members have been arrested here in Cook County for narcotics and weapons-related charges. Edwin Cameo was accused of selling cocaine to an undercover officer several times. Court records show as of February, his case was closed.
Just a bird's eye view of the situation would indicate that perhaps he's cooperating with the authorities.
Attorney Salvador Cicero is a former advisor for Organization of American States on Organized Crime.
Venezuela is unwilling to share with the United States their information or their database on criminals. Well, it's difficult for U.S. authorities to easily identify people.
Ghost criminals.
Yes, ghost criminals.
Despite the lack of cooperation from Venezuela, the Department of Homeland Security told NBC News every individual is screened and vetted, and they can check other available sources and data for criminal history. We reached out to the Chicago Police Department for a comment on this Venezuelan gang. We did not get a response. Reporting in Little Village, V1, NBC 5 News.
So important. Our thanks to V for that story.
It's a disturbing trend that we've seen over the past, really, few weeks.
Thanks for joining us at 9. I'm Dawn Hasbrook.
And I'm Anthony Ponce. 2 days in a row, groups of Venezuelan migrants were charged with burglaries in DuPage County. Casey Cronus is live in Oak Brook tonight. Casey.
Hey, Anthony and Dawn. In both cases, the thieves were using devices to try and trick the store's security systems. Now, officials are investigating whether the incidents are connected.
In a crowded Oak Brook shopping center, prosecutors say 2 men from Venezuela were caught stealing $750 in clothing from Macy's. When police tried to stop them, one of the men refused, trying to get away before he was brought to the ground and handcuffed.
They went in with a foil-lined bag, which again is designed to defeat the theft detection system that is installed at the store.
One day earlier, on Black Friday, 3 migrants, also from Venezuela, who've been living in Waukegan, allegedly took $500 worth of merchandise from Kohl's in Elmhurst. In that case, they were carrying a large magnet to thwart the store's anti-theft devices. All 5 people were arrested and charged, but DuPage County State's Attorney Robert Berlin says under the Safety Act, all but one of those offenders has been released.
Judges have very limited discretion in detaining those defendants.
He tells us there have already been 3 cases where migrants have failed to appear in court.
And the difficulty in finding them is a real problem. In fact, in one of the cases, when the judge was issuing the warrant for the defendant's address, it said tent.
Saturday wasn't the first time the Macy's here at Oak Brook Center has been hit in recent weeks. On Halloween, 2 Venezuelan migrants allegedly made off with more than $2,800 worth of merchandise before being caught a short time later. Reporting live in Oak Brook, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
Casey, thank you.
Since at least October 2023, intelligence divisions of the Cook County Sheriff's Office confirmed through internal emails obtained by Telemundo Chicago that members of the Aragua train are in Chicago. Gary McCarthy, police chief for suburban Willow Spring, calls the Aragua train a criminal enterprise and confirms that it is operating in Chicago. Email far. The gang has been confirmed in multiple states across the U.S., including Illinois, but a situation in Aurora, Colorado brought the topic front and center. Telemundo Chicago and NBC Chicago have been reporting on the gang's presence in the U.S. for months. Members of the violent gang have made their way to the United States and are believed to be linked to criminal cases in 5 states, including Illinois and Indiana, local law enforcement officials told NBC News in June. Authorities confirmed to NBC News they're investigating more than 100 criminal cases connected to suspected members of Trendy Aragua, and NBC Chicago confirmed that at least 2 members have been arrested in Cook County for narcotics and weapons-related charges. Intelligence divisions of the Cook County Sheriff's Office confirmed through internal emails obtained by Telemundo Chicago that members of the gang are in Chicago. The deportation of migrants who had entered the U.S. illegally came as the Biden administration lifted some sanctions against Venezuela in 2023. The United States, marking an end to a 4-year suspension of returning Venezuelan migrants home, sent its first deportation flight to Caracas on Wednesday, with 127 people on board. Later in the day, the Biden administration announced it would lift some of the sanctions on Venezuela in the oil and gas sectors. The Aragua, or TDA, is said to have given the green light for gang members to attack or fire on law enforcement, according to a U.S. Department of Homeland Security memo to the Albuquerque Police Department. Last month, the Biden administration sanctioned the Venezuelan gang believed to be behind a spree of kidnappings, extortion, and other crimes tied to migrants from South and Central America. The U.S. government also offered a $12 million reward for 3 leaders of Trendy Aragua, which joins other transnational criminal organizations such as the MS-13 gang from El Salvador and the Camorra from Italy that are banned from doing business in the U.S. In announcing the ban, Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence Brian Nelson said the government's actions underscores the escalating threat TDA poses.
And tonight, federal agents here in the U.S. and in Colorado and New York are watching their backs tonight. It's because News Nation is reporting a violent Venezuelan gang is giving the green light to shoot at agents. It's a gang known to have crossed the Texas-Mexico border, and tonight we're asking the experts if they're still here and if the unrest over there could send more gang members to hide among the real families who are fleeing the violence. The political unrest in Venezuela and gang violence has innocent people caught in the crossfire, and some are preparing to flee their homes for a chance at the American dream.
So the influx that we're seeing of more and more people coming out of Venezuela trying to get to the United States is very simple. It's because America has a functioning democracy and justice system, and Venezuela does not.
Dr. Andrew Smith, an assistant professor of political science at UTRGV, believes that's what's happening.
The attitude is if you can get out of Dodge and come to the United States, try to get out of Dodge and come to the United States.
But federal agencies believe hidden in the huddled masses are the wolves in sheep's clothing, like members of the dangerous Tren de Aragua gang. Known by federal investigators to commit sex trafficking, debt bondage, kidnapping, traffic cocaine and pills, and if you try to expose them, they'll kill you and post it online. The gang's leaders reportedly giving the green light in New York and Colorado to shoot at law enforcement. With El Paso being a known area, members have crossed.
Yeah, if it's in New York and Denver, I'm fairly certain that it's here in the Rio Grande Valley.
National Border Patrol Council spokesperson Chris Cabrera suspects just because the gang is based in northern states, their criminal network makes them a threat anywhere.
Yeah, they have a similar interest. They don't have for instance, a cartel may farm out some work to a local gang, whether it be here or in El Paso or wherever. And just because they have the manpower, they know the area, they have the resources to carry out whatever task it is that they need them to carry out.
Yeah. So just because the presence isn't there doesn't mean that the interest isn't there.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and smuggling of persons and smuggling of drugs is big business. It brings a lot of money. So a lot of people want to put their hand in that cookie jar.
And tonight there is a major bounty on the heads of the gang. Right now, the Biden administration is setting aside $12 million in rewards for information leading to the arrest and or the convictions of the 3 leaders of the Tren de Agua transnational criminal organization. Now, this is a joint effort between the Colombian National Police and the FBI, and they're encouraging people to go to their nearest FBI office or Colombian embassy or consulate's office to get some leads on tracking down the gang leaders.
The frenzy over a Venezuelan gang's presence in Aurora reached a fever pitch over the holiday weekend. Fueled in part by viral video of men with guns knocking on an apartment door and by a presidential election in which immigration and border security would be key issues for voters. Right-wing social media influencers and citizen journalists seized on video shared by Denver's Fox 31 television station showing armed men at an Aurora apartment complex, often adding their own captions and commentary as it made the rounds on TikTok, X, and Facebook. Even former President Donald Trump weighed in during a podcast interview, repeating unverified claims that gangs were taking over big buildings with big rifles in the city.
And new at 10, it's scenes coming out of a movie as the Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua are seen breaking into apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado. This is according to our sister station in Denver. There you can see the group well armed and forcing an apartment door open and making their way in. This has raised concerns amongst residents and Colorado state law enforcement officials. The city of Aurora is issuing a statement today in the wake of national attention following the video's release. As we've reported in the past, Tren de Agua is one of the fastest growing transnational criminal organizations from Venezuela. According to FBI officials, the gang has now infiltrated its way into the United States through various sectors of the U.S.-Mexico border.
Unison 3 on Citywide for some of the guns, 6124 South King Drive. Caller says 32 Venezuelans are trespassing the building, showing guns in the courtyard, and they have motorcycles in the courtyard as well. All stairwells are filled. Nothing further, zone clear.
Hey, I'm sorry, you headed over to the shot putter or to the 6124 on King for the migrants?
On King Drive.
Alright, 10-4. There's another available unit arrive at 310. We had multiple calls. First with the gun, 6124 South King. Also came over to disturbance large gathering. Could be 32 Venezuelans trespassing in the building property, showing guns in the courtyard. They have motorcycles in the courtway, all stairwells filled. And nothing further.
3.
Unison 3 on Citywide for some of the guns, 6124 South King Drive. Caller says 32 Venezuelans are trespassing the building, showing guns in the courtyard, and they have motorcycles in the courtyard as well. All stairwells are filled. Nothing further, zone clear.
Hey, I'm sorry, you headed over to the shot putter or to the 6124 on King for the migrants?
On King Drive.
Alright, 10-4. There's another available unit arrive at 310. We had multiple calls. First with the gun, 6124 South King. Also came over to disturbance large gathering. Could be 32 Venezuelans trespassing in the building property, showing guns in the courtyard. They have motorcycles in the courtway, all stairwells filled. And nothing further.
3.
The U.S. government has seized a plane used by Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro that officials say was illegally purchased through a shell company and smuggled out of the United States, citing violations of sanctions and export control laws. The Dassault Falcon 900EX was seized in the Dominican Republic and transferred to the custody of federal officials in Florida, the Justice Department said Monday.
The United States has seized the personal airplane of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The plane was transported to Fort Lauderdale, Florida this morning after being seized in the Dominican Republic. That plane is described as an equivalent to Air Force One. The special agent in charge for Homeland Security investigations says it was taken because it was in violation of U.S. export control and sanction laws.